morning. It is Tuesday. Actually, it might be Wednesday. I really have no idea. I need to take a look at that. I just made some coffee. I am here on Nabesna Road heading towards Nabesna. I had no idea where this was or what this is. It's in between Toke and McCarthy and Valdez. So I was on my way to McCarthy to go to the Kennecott mine, and I saw the sign for this. Somebody had recommended it to me while I was in the Arctic Ocean spot and said it was really pretty. Imagine there's a lot of hikes here though. I don't plan on doing hiking. I mean, I'll walk a little bit to get some nice photos, but I did see mountains in the distance where this road was heading, so I figured why not give it a shot. I really don't have the time to burn, but like I said, kind of just made a last minute decision. It is very pretty. Unfortunately, the spot where I'm at is there's really no scenery around. It's just a lot of trees, tops of some mountains, but it's a really nice camp spot for free. And they've got about 10 spots, picnic tables, fire rings, level ground, very clean, organized. It's just really nice. I know a lot of people don't come down here because even in the visitor center, there wasn't even any information on Nabesna from what I could tell. But now, from McCarthy to the mine, you can't drive. You have to take a shuttle, which is $15, and that kind of irks me since I'm saving pennies like a miser. So that's my plan for today. I don't know if I'll make the mine tour today or tomorrow, but then after that I want to shoot to Valdez, and there I desperately need to do laundry and get a shower. I've looked at the prices. They're decent for that area. Actually decent for the entire area that I've been in. Anyway, I am gonna finish up here, finish up my cup of coffee. I've got another travel cup to go, and I've mostly got organized. I got to do a few more things, and then head out and then see what Nabesna is all about, and head back to the main road and then down to McCarthy, which is also another, I don't know, I think it's 90 miles in to McCarthy and back, if I remember correctly, or 60. This was 40, I think that's 60, and then Valdez is a one-way in, a one-way out, and then I got to shoot to Anchorage, and then from Anchorage go down to the peninsula area. I'm not going to do a lot. I've already cut out a lot of stuff there. I'm cutting out Seward, I'm cutting out Homer, just because I've already been there. It's additional gas. I don't know what I'm going to do once I got there. It was nice, but it wasn't worth going with the Jeep just to go with the Jeep. So I might instead do Whittier, and then also do a part of the peninsula on the western side that's about halfway down. I can't remember the name of it, but I haven't been there, so maybe I'll just do that as a trip and then head back up and then over. So I've got some figuring out to do yet, but I've already nixed some places, so to try to save some time. So hopefully I can get all this done and still go down the western route back into the lower 48, but time will tell. All right, so I am at the end of the line. According to my GPS, I have 2 more miles to go, but right behind me, there is a sign that says stop, stop, stop. Beyond that, it says road closed. Then there's another one that says you are completely driving at your own risk and that no towing services are available. And then there's another one that says if you do need towing, it's going to be $500. So for that reason, I'm not going any further. I am going to walk up a little bit of it, and this mountain behind me is huge in person, and you can't really see much else from this parking lot, which is why I'm going to walk up the road a little bit. Was the drive worth it? You know, it was pretty, but it really wasn't worth my time. It did get pretty rocky in some areas because you do go over what looks like runoff type rivers that probably during the spring are somewhat impassable or are going to be pretty deep. And you know, the view in the distance is nice. Unfortunately, I couldn't video any of it on the way in because the sun's that way and the glare was just too bad, and it just looked dark in the distance. So I'm here. I'm gonna walk a little bit further. I've got my bear spray in my GPS sat phone just in case, because I am out in the middle of nowhere kind of, and there are bears in this area. So, but I just want to see if I can't possibly get a better view. and then start heading back. I mean, it's kind of a bummer. But I tried it. I'm glad at least I tried it, because I would have always wondered if I should have done it. And so if anybody else is in the area, if you want to do hikes, looked like there's a lot of cool hikes in this area. But for just the drive, I don't think it's worth the gas. Alaska is full of pretty areas, so this one you could skip. Here's a better view of that mountain. And unfortunately, you can't even see all the mountains that were in the distance out there. They were really pretty. And then even over here behind all this brush. So maybe I can get some of that stuff on the way out. As for this road, I haven't walked very far in, and it doesn't look like I'm going to be able to see too much. I mean, maybe if I went all the way down the road, I could see the mountain range in the distance, but it's a muddy mess. I don't feel like getting all muddy. And as for this road, I mean, I can see why they would say drive at your own risk. I mean, you could get like a cut tire if you went over that part of the pipe. And this stuff is kind of deep. I would say any four-wheel drive high clearance vehicle could probably do this without even engaging four-wheel drive, but I guess they're just, you know, being on the side of caution and putting that sign up and drive at your own risk. I could easily do it, but I'm gonna head back and start the drive. Unfortunately, it was really slow for the last 5 miles because of the terrain. Just not a very well-groomed road. And there were people that lived back here. There were, I don't know, 5 to 10 residences that were not too far from the parking lot where I'm at. And I'm sure they love the solitude and having people like me come back here. But yeah, I'm sure it'd be a great place to be if you want to get away. And you know, if you're looking for a drive where you're away from everybody, then this is definitely one for you. But like I said, just I've been in enough alone places that I didn't need to do this one, but now you know, so check it out if you have the time and if you want the solitude. So one thing that I read on the weather reports is that not only was it going to be partly cloudy, but smoke was going to be a factor. And I can actually smell smoke now that I'm back on Route 1. And I believe that that's not really cloud cover out there, that's smoke. They say that they've had more fires down in this area, well, I overheard somebody say this, than they have in a while. So that is definitely going to be a factor in the scenery and the landscape views for the next few days. Alright, so I just passed through Chitina off the Edgerton Highway, I think it's called. But once you hit McCarthy Road, it is 62 miles to McCarthy each way, and it turns to dirt. So I'm going to go ahead and deflate my tires. It's worth it to drive 120 miles. Put it down to 20 psi. I was going to stop right here near the entrance, but I'm going to check out a spot real quick and see if it's worth staying the night, but I really would like to get quite a few miles behind me. I'm really behind today. It's already 6:30 and I just hit this area. I was supposed to get here 3 or 4 hours ago, but I was kind of putzing around, so now I need to push it a little bit. So I'll check out this one spot that's supposed to be a really nice overlook that's within the park. But if that isn't worth staying for the night, then I'm going to probably push through at least 30 to 40 miles tonight yet. before I settle down. So I've since found out, after being on this road for, I don't know, 6-7 miles, that a lot of it is actually paved, but then there's a lot of sections that are just filled in with dirt, and the potholes are really bad. So even though part of it is paved, or quite a bit of it so far, I'm glad I aired down, because I've hit a few things already that I couldn't see very well, and you can easily, with a car, take out a tire or a rim. So it's been a very, very bumpy ride. But yeah, if you take this road just like any other back road in Alaska, you need to take it easy. This is kind of interesting. This guy built this truck out of various other vehicles.
here, or is that different?
Okay, there's no mine tours, but you can go through the mill.
Yes.
And if you want to walk up the 14 stories through the mill, they leave at 1 right now.
Yeah.
So some of the buildings up here, the Kennecott mine, you can go in and they have exhibits that you can just walk through and read. I'm not going to go through all this, but this building's pretty big. There's a lot of stuff to read, which I'm going to come back through and read. But really cool. They've still got all this stuff intact. And this you don't have to pay for, but to go up into the mill and a few other buildings, you have to pay 28 bucks. I'm not doing that. I'm going to hike up to the mill, but I'm not paying $28 to go inside of it. So all this paperwork here, just various things regarding the mill. From 1924-24, this is a letter stating that they're unhappy about an order for a wheel not being completed yet, and just various pictures of the wheels that were used. And so this building was a warehouse, and everything was brought in by train. So that's what all the bins and shelves were for. And then they show a history of the Kennecott mine. Here's the rail depot that was restored in 2002, I think it was. And it has information about the rail, how much it took to build it. And then here's the ticket counter. And I'll show that information at the end of the video as well. And then here is the office where a lot of the staff worked. This is inside. Looks like a safe door, and then here's another safe. Yeah, this is a Safe door for that as well. Drafting office. And then another safe here. All right, so that's the office, that's the mill, and it's a 1.5 mile round loop to get up there. So I'm going to do that now. Made it up to the mill, and you can see the condition that this is all in. And this is the end of the line for me, because even though this building is in pretty poor shape, they've reinforced it enough for a walkway, and that's where the tour goes through. And these cable lines go up behind me, but you can't see where they go. But to get a better idea of shape of this thing, I mean, just look at that. So a while ago, it was started to be demolished, and then it was saved before they completed it. So they ripped the roof off, ripped the other structures down around here, and this is what's left of the mill. But underneath the roof, they've started to do reinforcements and try to bring this thing a bit more back to life to have it around for many years to come, but they've got a long way to go. You can see the view out there, and you got a really good view of the glacier on the other side. I saw people walking through there on the tour, and they all had hard hats on, so they have a lot of work ahead of them. These signs are throughout the entire area. So all of that debris, that's not tailings from the mine. That's all left by the glacier. You can actually still see some snow right out there. And then the glacier's out that way. So there's another good view of the glacier and some of the ice flow that's down there. So you can pay to go on these trails to these different mines and areas, or you can go on your own. But a lot of these are like 5 miles round trip. I think the Jumbo and Bonanza Mine Trail are like 9 and 10 miles round trip. I talked to somebody who said that the Bonanza one was quite difficult. It's like 3,600 feet in 4.5 miles. So definitely something I'm not going to be doing. So along the path here, back into the building area is still part of the narrow gauge line that ran through here. So here's one of the cottages that a family would live in, and it's just super cool the way that it's still in this condition. Got the kitchen area, obviously some of it's been restored, but I love these old cabinets. You've got the pull-out bins, there's a mantle sink, And then just some examples of what would have been in here. But imagine quite homey for an area like this. So you can actually go into the power plant. It's kind of dark, but still have some of the equipment in place. The smell in here is incredible. What you'd expect in a huge power plant, machine shop. Smell of oils and old wood. It says 1916 on that casting. And the timber in here is really neat. Looks like they keep their restoration wood down there. It's a warehouse. The old brickwork along the floor, boiler. And then this is from another entrance at the other end of the building. So that's a diesel electric generator. And then there's another generator behind that. They had multiple ways to generate electricity if something were to go wrong. So this is underground tunnels, aerial tramways that left from here. The Bonanza Mill Trail, that's like 4.5 miles. Jumbo Mine is, I think, 4 to 5. That one is the easiest trail to Erie Root Glacier Trail, or the Erie Root Glacier Trail. And then a wagon road, former railway. Let's peek into the flotation plant. See the sack elevator. Oh wow, it's kind of dark in here, but a lot of stuff was left behind in this mine when it closed up, but they left just enough to restart it if they had to. But then in the, was it the 70s, they hired someone to start tearing this place down and took a lot of the stuff that was left already out of here. All the chutes. And a photographer could spend an entire day just photographing all the cool patinaed things in here. It's crazy how cool this is. So down there is obviously one of their dumps. You can barely see the mountains out there. This is one last building. The recreation hall. Guess they needed something to do and to keep their spirits up. There's the main part of the town, and down here you get into a little bit of the residential area, and that there looked like it was a hardware store at one time. Very cool. It's like stepping back in time. There is the hotel. I think that's been seen in the show. So this street has been shown on the Alaska show. I can't remember the name of which one it is, but this is the area, and I think somewhere around here is where they wanted to put, or the one guy wanted to put a traffic light or something. But anyway, little rail car, and this is a rock crusher. So this is inside the train car, and they've got this cool example of the Bonanza mine. So if you're in this area, it is definitely worth checking out McCarthy and the Kennecott mine. Even though it's a tourist location with lots of tour guided things, including flight seeing tours, hiking tours, glacier tours, it is still pretty cool. You still feel like you're going back in time. There's so much stuff here from back in the early 1900s and since then. But if you're going to do this drive, it is almost 50 miles, I think, of a dirt road. A lot of it is washboard roads, and it'll chatter your teeth out. I've deflated my tires, and it's still a rough ride, but worth it anyway. You can only go so far, so you go to basically a footbridge, and then from there you have to walk or take the shuttle the rest of the way. If you park at the footbridge, you have to pay a fee to park, and there's a 4-hour fee, and then there's also a day use fee. But if you're willing to walk about 7 minutes, you can park up the road for free at either a visitor information center or at a campground. Both of those let you park on their land for free. Then you take the footbridge over to the shuttle. The shuttle to go to McCarthy as well as to go to the Kennecott mine is $10 each way, or $15 round trip. If you want to walk to McCarthy, it's only about 0.75 miles. If you want to walk to the Kennecott mine from McCarthy, it's about 9 miles round trip. So $15 round trip in the shuttle, especially if it's hot outside, is well worth it. Once you get to the Kennecott mine, you can pay for guided tours. You have to pay $28 to see the inside of the mill, as well as a couple of other buildings that are off limits if you're just walking around by yourself. Or you could just walk around yourself for free and just not see as much. But there's a lot of the buildings that are owned by the Park Service that have some great information in them. It's part of the free tour that you can take yourself. You can still walk up to the mill, you just can't go inside the mill. And then there's shops and a couple of other little things that you can look at while you're up there. But definitely worth it. I am glad that I made the trip down this way. And now I've got to drive the 60 miles to get out. But, you know, do your due diligence. I didn't on the way in, which is why I'm giving you the information as to what you have to pay for and what you don't, and then how much your guided tours are. You can do the hikes to the different gold mines that are up in that area, which are about 9-10 miles round trip, depending on which ones you want to do. but you can pay for guided ones. And from what I understand from one of the people that I talked to, once you get to like the Bonanza mine, I don't think there's a whole lot that you can actually see. You're mostly doing it for the views. You can't get inside the mine, and I'm not sure if the guided tours will let you inside the mine. But he said that there's one building standing there and you can walk around that, but I don't think you can go into it. But again, do your own research. But if you don't pay for anything, it's still really cool to walk around the Kennecott mine. I even got off the shuttle on the way back and just walked a little bit around McCarthy. McCarthy's a very small town, and if you've seen the Alaska show that has McCarthy in it, you know that. But I still wanted to walk around it, and rather than wait for the next shuttle to take me back to the footbridge, I just walked the 0.7 mile trip back. So anyway, worth doing. Check it out, and try to do it on a cool day. It was a nice, cool 60-degree day today, and the walk back was still pretty warm. And then also you have the glacier in the distance, so you can pay to walk to the glacier. I think you can walk to the glacier on your own, but you've got great views of the glacier from the Kennecott mine area, and then you can see all the not the tailings, but what look like tailings of dirt that are still sitting on ice from the glacier, but are actually mounds of dirt left from the glacier. So also something cool that you can see while you're up there. But like I said, now it's a long, teeth-shattering drive all the way back to get back onto the road that I need to stay on to get back to to get to Valdez, which is my next stop.